911. It's a number dialed over 240 million times each year. In all cases, those cries for help are answered by trained professionals, and many of them are NINA certified ENPs. Let's talk to one of them, unedited and completely off the cuff.
Are you positive he's breathing?
No.
Okay, and he's blue?
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a good chance he's not breathing. Is there somebody else there that can do CPR?
Oh my God.
911, what's your emergency?
NINA, the National Emergency Number Association, and the NANCI-approved Standards Development Organization, has created the Emergency Number Professional Accreditation, specifically for public safety professionals. ENP certification establishes the benchmark for performance, signifying a broad-based competence in the public safety field. Successful certification completion demonstrates an individual's mastery of the knowledge base requirements for an emergency management position. So join me as we talk to yet another new ENP, unedited and completely off the cuff. Hey, it's Fletch. Welcome to another episode of Off the Cuff, True Confessions of an ENP. Today we're sitting down with Maria Henry of Versaterm, a brand new ENP out of Philly. How you doing, girl? Right across the river from Jersey.
That's right. I'm doing great.
So
Thanks for
you just
having
got
me.
your ENP a couple of weeks ago. Why did you decide to do this?
I felt like it was just a natural progression to where I was at professionally. I dedicated a really long time to public safety and felt like this was just the next step. I should obtain it. This would benefit me and my current position, and really definitely was an eye opener of all the things that I didn't know, and I did learn a lot from that
So
experience.
you're a CAD system administrator at
Mhm.
Versaterm,
Yeah.
but you've got decades of experience down in Philly, right?
Yeah.
As a 911 dispatcher,
Yes, I
communications
do.
officer.
Yeah, I had 26 years as a police communications dispatcher. I was brought in. I was I showed that I had a natural, like a knack for troubleshooting CAD issues even on the floor. And so I was pulled back into the administrative offices and made into the CAD SME. And it from there, I just started to climb up the ladder, and just from there, I transitioned into the 911 IT systems manager, and then from there is my current position at Versaterm. So
So
it's
Philadelphia, they get about 1,500, 2,000 calls a year for
no,
service?
no, it's at least 2.6 million calls a year.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And you probably felt like you took every single one of them, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. It's rough. Dispatching is not an easy job. So definitely very busy city.
So you dispatched for 26 years. When did you start? When you were like 5?
Oh my God, no. Thank you.
You see what I did there? You like that? Right?
Yeah, that was a good one,
My
Mark.
wife taught me that. Yeah, it works all the time.
No, it's I started, what, I was like 29 when I
Wow.
started. Yeah.
Why did you get into it?
They were looking for bilingual dispatchers. And I thought, well, let me give it a shot. This seems interesting. It doesn't seem like a boring job. And I really, I have to be maybe just one of a group of very small group of people who really, really love dispatching, love 911, love all of that, what encompasses all of 911, and want to make a mark in the industry and make it and try to bring improvement. So it's something that means a lot to me, and it's something that I'm going full forward with this. So it's been a good journey so far. So
When you first started dispatching, Maria, when did you realize that this was going to be your career? When did it bite you?
a year into dispatching, all dispatchers have that moment where they come into that realization that oh yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And it's usually when you handle your first foot pursuit or your first car pursuit, or just like, an officer needs emergency backup. It's usually during those moments where you do a really good job. And and then you realize, hey, yeah, I'm actually good at this. I think I can continue with this, and this is my path forward. So yeah,
Do you remember that earmark call where
I
the
do.
light bulb came on?
I
What was it?
absolutely do. It was an officer needed an assist and had an emergency, and the officer just happened to be on a car stop, and it was my first, citywide call for an assist. And it was at the end, even though in the moment you're not realizing it, at the afterwards you start replaying everything back, and you're like, okay, I did it. I actually did it, and I was okay doing this. So I know every dispatcher can connect with that, and has had that moment where they're just like, yeah,
Absolutely. I
I'm
used to
supposed to do this.
dispatch 1980 to 85,
Nice.
little single seat PSAP, town I grew up in, but I remember that one night we dispatched 3 towns, police, fire, and medical,
Right.
and I had it was just going crazy, and I had all 3 towns going back and forth between each other with a couple of MDAs and ambulance calls, and I was just, like, working it like a Ouija board, and I'm like, "Yeah, baby," 'cause it just
Yes,
happened,
and
and
you
I'm
get
like,
excited.
"This is
That's
cool."
yeah, I absolutely love it. I
Yeah,
love it.
and
Yeah.
I still feel it like it was yesterday that it
Mhm.
happened. So
Yeah.
so what did you think about when you sat down and decided to start studying for the EMP? When you first cracked the books open, did you what did you feel?
Well, I had already, like I say I'm a, lifelong student, right? So I'm in the middle of my PhD classes.
Oh, wow.
So I so in doing that, I decided, oh, let me just throw this in the mix. Let's just make life just a little harder. I
Wow,
like,
Dr.
but
Maria. I
Dr.
got this
Maria.
little scratch over. Could you take a look at it?
No, I would
Different
love to
doctor.
like, yeah, different doctor, IT, but I figured, like to me, it's just like, you start off beginnings as a dispatcher and climbing up and seeing, oh, there's a need for this. There's a need to have that experience from that professional side, that end user side, the person that was there in the trenches and could provide feedback, especially where there's this disconnect between end user and IT. So
Right.
I feel like I can bridge that gap. So it was so I did go back to school while I was still a dispatcher, and I was working really hard, and then obtained my bachelor's in computing and security technology, and then continued school and obtained my master's in human computer interaction and user experience,
Wow.
and it stayed with I'm a career student for sure because I'm still going and going forward and hoping to have that, being able to bring that change that I can envision occurring in 911, like for the better. So I have lots of plans. So let's see. Hopefully, I get to where um, I'm I'm heading, where I believe I'm heading. So,
My God, you make me feel so insignificant,
oh
you
no,
know,
what do I do? I don't want
next you're
you.
gonna solve world hunger, and then, I thought maybe
No,
Thursday
let
I
me
would
just throw that in. Oh yeah, EMP had it. Well, I should do this though. Shout out to Tracy Eldridge and On Scene First because she has the most amazing study groups. That's it. Absolutely.
Tracy, that's the worst one you could possibly pick.
Oh, Tracy.
You
She
know I love
really
her like a sister.
she got me through this for sure.
You know what? Tracy came from up behind the headset, and Tracy knows how to speak to people from
Yes.
behind the
Yes.
headset and
Yeah.
translate this highly technical, not because people can't understand it, it's just how they need to understand it.
Mhm.
And she always calls me, she goes, "Oh, I got a new way of explaining this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "That makes no sense whatsoever because
It
I'm a
is.
really technical person." But then I'm like, "But I see your point." And she's like, "Yeah, and everybody else gets it." So I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, she's
"Okay,
awesome.
whatever it takes, right?"
I'll tell you, had it not been for that, and the body of knowledge where that manual that you get from
Oh,
Nina, it's like the greatest thing ever. It's just perfect. It was exactly what I needed. I didn't kill myself studying too much, but it was just enough to
no,
pass. So,
that's good to hear. And I hear, I'm going to say probably 95% of the people that I interview have been through one of the work groups. A lot of them go through Tracy's because we have a lot of dispatchers
mm-hmm.
that are taking the EMP now because it wasn't always open to dispatchers, right?
Right,
So that was
right,
just recent. And that's was about the same time that Tracy came on board and opened up her classes, which was great timing because it just, for that group of people really to take advantage, they
right.
needed one of their own to explain things to them in their
Yes,
language,
yes.
so that it would make sense to them. And she brought out, my God, she brought out so much in the training when she first came on board after her first class. She handed me a list that was this thick of changes. This is going to be explained differently. This is wrong. This is, oh my
Yeah,
God, whatever. But
yeah.
you know
She's
what? All good though.
incredible. I love being around people that have that passion, for public safety. It's like you live, you breathe the ultimate 911 nerds. Like that's me. And yeah, and she's just like that as well. So I did get a lot from those study sessions. So
What made you move to the private sector?
opportunity, the ability to grow, right? I saw that I could have more of a change coming back in
Hmm.
on a different level, but still have that connection to my roots of dispatching. And so I think I won't say I know it was a good move, um, as far as going to the private sector. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
No, that's cool. So you being a study holic, what are your best tips for tackling a topic like this? Because a lot of people are nervous, they don't think they can handle it. The test has this perception of being super hard, and it's not easy, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
long test, and it's a very thorough test, but it's
Yes.
not an impossible test.
Mm-hmm. My recommendation is to get the sample test. I did do that. Um, Body of knowledge, download Quizlet because the Tracy Eldridge also has flashcards with questions on there that you can run through. That was very helpful for day of because I tend to cram right before, so that way I can uh, just get a little refresher. And I usually will take the day before I'll take a break in studying, and then like right before just do a quick cram session, which is where I was able to get the certain test questions from Quizlet under Tracy Eldridge's group, and that was extremely helpful. And she's very good with pointing out a lot of people have issues with this area.
Hmm.
And then she'll start to really go through and step by step, making sure that, you know, that it's clear. And I can't say more. I can't say enough about those study sessions. They were very helpful. And that's my biggest recommendation is to do that because if you don't do that, you're gonna sort of lose. She has captured that essence of what the test is about. And if you don't sign up for those study sessions, you're gonna miss it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing she does as well, which I really think is helpful, after every class, she'll go through, or after every class grouping, if you will, every test
Mhm.
session, she'll go through and she'll audit herself and she'll take
Yes.
feedback from people
Yes.
and she will go through and tweak and update and
Mhm.
stay current. And the questions change
Right.
every year, every test period
Mhm.
around as well. So she makes sure that she stays constant and in concert with what's currently being taught,
Right.
which I think is really important because that with the way the technology is moving forward today, it's very easy for that test to get very stale.
Mhm.
And as part of the NIB, we go through that test every year and
Right.
rewrite the questions for the upcoming year right? There are 2 test exams, 150
Mhm.
questions each,
Right.
and we look at what questions are doing well, which questions are not doing well. We improve the ones that need to be improved. We add new content. We
Mhm.
remove old content, but leaving enough in there so you still get the fundamental history, which is really the challenge
Yeah.
today. 150 questions seems like a lot, but when you're trying to teach new, trying to
Mhm.
maintain the legacy
Right.
and keep the fundamentals,
Right.
which to me personally, I think are some of the most important concepts, because
Mhm.
without the fundamentals, you lose everything. It's tough to get that through in
Yeah.
150 questions.
Yeah. It is tough. Yeah,
So,
and
were you
it's
happy with your final score?
um to be honest, I didn't know I didn't have a warm and fuzzy feeling when I finished, but then when you know how you get your that preliminary test score when you're done, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I did it. So yeah, I was happy. I was
Were you
happy with mine.
surprised?
I was surprised for sure. Because I took it and I was just like, I want to see what this is like. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. And yeah, I was very surprised,
So,
actually.
were you surprised when you got the pass and then you got your score as
I
well?
said, "Oh my god, I did it, I did it, yes."
Isn't that the greatest feeling in the world, though, when you get that green mark and you're
Yep,
like, "Oh my god,
mhm. I was just
congratulations, ENP," but I
over the
can't tell
moon.
anybody yet.
Can't say nothing, can't put EMP after my name yet.
Yet, but now you can.
I can. Yeah,
Yeah, and hopefully you've done that on all your business cards
I
and your
did. I
LinkedIn and
my
social
yeah,
media.
yeah, it was one of the first things I did. It's just like, "Yay, EMP."
So how many other EMPs do you have at work with you?
None.
Wow,
Mm-mm.
and are you
Yeah.
inspiring new people?
Yeah, I have sort of, like, recruited another dispatcher. I'm like, "Come on, let's, here's my book, here's to get you started. Don't be afraid." And sort
That's
of
part of the
like,
job, right?
yeah,
You gotta go you gotta bring others into the fold.
yeah. So I started doing that because I'm like, "Come on, you can do this. You got this." She's like, "I'm just dispatcher." Yeah. So listen, I will always be just a dispatcher.
There is no such thing as just a dispatcher.
Yeah. So
No,
yeah,
that's
so I'm like, just
fantastic.
go for it. Yeah.
So
So I'm
what else
trying.
what are you gonna do now in your career? What's your next step? My
My
god, you getting your PhD, I don't know what your next step could be.
I would love to be part of the uh, creation of a design of a new CAD and have some sort of input in that. And as far as from that human computer aspect and that user experience, and that's really important to me as far as giving dispatchers a CAD that they can sit in front of for an 8 to 12-hour shift, and it's okay. Like, in other words, they're not it's tailored to exactly what they want. And for me, that's like, if that is my ultimate goal right now, is to get to that point where I'm you know influencing and helping that change to happen. So
So let
we'll
me
see.
ask you, I'm sure you've seen the movie Minority Report, right? With the big graphic in front of you dragging things around.
Maybe,
Is the
maybe.
keyboard gonna go away in 5 to 10 years?
No, I don't see that. You know why? I think that dispatch by nature is very command line driven. We love our keyboard. We love, it's that um I don't think it's going to be totally mouse driven. And you have some people that are mousers, but I think that in the end, that will be part of dispatch forever. And that is that, instantaneous command line, uh, just working from that command line and expanding out with your mouse and shortcut keys and things of that sort. But yeah, I don't see that going away soon.
What do you I'm sure you see the millennials coming in and with the way they communicate and the way they deal with the UI, all right? It's very different than,
Hmm.
you know, you and I, which are very command line, and I
Right.
love command line. When I remember when Windows first came out, like, what is this mouse thing? Right? Yeah. And I remember the old Star Trek movie, computer,
Oh yes,
when you
computer
picked up the
dispatch.
mouse.
Yeah. Um, I really no, I know that this new generation that's coming in, 911, all PSAP, see it everywhere, right? This new influx of dispatchers coming in that are a little different than the school that we came from, and I think that their needs and their wants are going to be slightly different. They have a comfort level with technology that we did not have,
Mm-hmm.
right? I remember not before cell phones and before, laptops, but they grew up with that. They were bottle fed with this stuff. So this is not new. And I noticed that but they still use their keyboard and they still use it, but they use it in a different way because they know all the shortcuts and they work smarter and not harder,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then there's also this disconnect with that um with that caller. There's like this weird thing, right? That you have to have that empathy. You have to like, and I'm talking from um, as an older person. Uh, there is a little different in work ethic, but these are all things that are trainable. So you know,
No, it'll be
let's see.
interesting to see where things are going. I mean, I when I was dispatching, we were all card based,
Hmm.
handwritten. We still had the blotter that I had to handwrite all the incidents in, at the end of the
Right?
day, and do the cards as well, and type up the complaints and so forth. I had a computer for DMV lookups, but that was it.
Yeah.
And I look at things now, and I'm in centers all the time, and I would like, wow, I would love to dispatch like that
Hmm.
because that's cool,
Yeah.
but I don't know if I could do it or not.
Wow.
I was very hands-on, and I had the big radio console and all the
Hmm.
buttons, and I could work it like magic, but that's what I learned. That's what I
Right.
grew up on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do what I did today and make that Ouija board fly like I used to. I could be totally lost and useless, but
Yeah.
whatever, you know. I mean, I still, I went to work and we got the chalk out, No, it wasn't that cool. But well,
Yeah.
listen, what a great career,
Thank
and
you.
good for you that you've been able to continue forward and see the evolution of all your skills and hard work into next generation 911 and
Yeah.
the back end systems that enable all of that to happen. So
Yeah.
you're in the mix of both modalities right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So you got the
it's
fundamentals.
I'm just I'm very happy with where I'm at right now and how I'm moving forward and progressing in my career. And it's been an incredible journey so far. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. All right. Well,
Life is
not
good.
quite a Jersey girl, but you're just over the river. So,
Yeah,
maybe we'll get down to Philly one day and we can catch up for
definitely.
lunch or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, congratulations on your
Of
ENP.
course.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you've given them a little bit of insight into how you got here and that hard work, and it pays off, and
It
people
does.
do retire from this industry.
Hmm.
You know what?
Yeah.
Don't give up so easy.
Exactly.
Thanks very
Exactly.
much for sitting down with us.
Thank you.
You have a great day.
All right. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye. Well, that wraps up this episode of Off the Cuff, Confessions of an ENP. I'm Mark Fletcher, ENP, and I'm the Vice President of Public Safety Solutions at 911 Inform. Off the Cuff is sponsored by 911 Inform, delivering next-generation 911 solutions to the enterprise today and making every second count. Visit them on the web at 911inform.com. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at Fletch911. Check out all my blogs and podcasts at Fletch.tv. And be sure to like and subscribe below. That way you'll be immediately notified whenever a new podcast is published. Thanks so much for listening. If you're in public safety, thanks for what you do. Take care and have a great day.